Welcome to today's episode of Financial Fluency. Today I am here with Terra Milo. Hey Terra, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I am good. I'm really excited this worked today. We talked about possibly rescheduling for illness, but you sound and look fantastic, so thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Yep, feeling good.
So I know that what you do for small business owners is something that a lot of people need, especially in the early days, setting up the tech side of how an online business works and making their email server talk to their website and getting their landing page to collect the email address and that kind of stuff, to make all the stuff work together, right?
Yep, that's exactly it.
Okay, maybe you can describe that a little better than I just did. But I know when I first set up my first website, that stuff made me tear my hair out. And I ended up just hiring someone to make me a whole new website and set up the email and make it work, because I was just like, those moments when you're sitting there at the computer and are like, but I did it. I followed the YouTube video and it just doesn't work.
Yes, exactly. So what I do is I teach people one-on-one how to do all of that stuff, because I know the YouTube videos are out there, the free stuff is out there, but it's not about you and your business. So when we work together and we're setting up the website, we can design it with your colors, and we can find those colors and your fonts, and we can pull all that stuff together to make it your website and not the YouTube tutorial website. You know what I mean? And the other great thing about that is that you learn how to do it yourself. So you know how your website works. Because when you hire a designer, which is a great idea, they might not show you how your website works. And then you have to pay them every time you want to change a sentence on your website. Well, why can't I just do it myself? So I teach people how to use the beautiful website that they already have, or we might co-create a website together. We set up the emails together so they know how their email system works, and they just feel more empowered and confident around the technology that is working behind their business. It's really cool.
You know, something that eventually happened to me was moving from MailChimp to wanting to have a few more of these tagging, segmenting, retargeting options. I was working with someone with a OBM who migrated, I think that's the right word, migrated me to ActiveCampaign, set up ActiveCampaign. But then within, a few months of that, I ended up not working with the same OBM and VA team, and I had no idea how to send an email.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so frustrating. And you feel so stuck, right? You're like,
yeah.
Can't do this little thing.
Because with my podcast, at the time I had 2 podcasts going, both the All the Stuff podcast and this one. So I had at least 2 weekly emails that that I would have go out to announce the new episodes each time. But I also send other emails for different things at different times. And I was just like, now I have to find someone who can do that, which I luckily did. But at the same time, I was like, I really should learn how to just send my own email again.
Yeah, exactly. And what I feel like I do is stop you from pulling your hair out and from feeling like a failure and, from relying on somebody else. And it's great to have a VA and to have a team, but when you don't, you got to know how to do this stuff yourself. So I'm kind of that in-between person of like, I'm going to empower you so that you know how things work, so that you build your business and then you hire a team and they can do it for you, which is really ideal, right? To have somebody else do the tech stuff for you.
Yeah. Well, especially for so many of us now, even if what we do has nothing to do with tech, in order to run our business online, we still have to understand at least some tech stuff.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I will give you a little clue though. When you run into something like that and you don't know how to send that ActiveCampaign or whatever it is, just copy the last one and type over the top of it and then send it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Then you don't have to learn how to set up a whole new thing. Copy something that works and type over the top.
Okay, that's a good idea. I actually saw you at work recently swoop in and help someone who was at a live event, because I was at the live event with this woman, and she had this tech moment where they set up a separate system for the live event attendees that went through a slightly different, I don't know what, than her normal email list and everything. They bought through this other system. Maybe it was WooCommerce or some kind of shopping cart thing. And she couldn't figure out how to grabbed the emails of all the live attendees, and she had to send them something that morning so that they knew what to do when they got to the event. And I was like, I think I know someone who could do that for you. And I gave her, I connected her with you. And I did have to leave while you guys were working on it to go get to a workshop that I was going to. But that was great that I was like, that's so fantastic. There are people that can just kind of swoop in when you have an emergency, especially if it's time sensitive like that was. And you just can't be like, how do I get the emails out of this thing where they bought it from and send them an email in my system?
Yeah, that was so fun to be able to, like you said, just swoop in and like, I can get this done for you in 15 minutes. You get to your event. I'm going to take care of it. It was cool. That was a neat experience. I loved those little problem solving things because like WooCommerce wanted her to buy an extra add-on in order to download those emails. I was like, we're not doing that. Let me fix this for you. I just did it for it. It was really fun.
And that's frustrating too, because you're like, these are my customers that I brought through your third-party system. I should have access to their information because they, obviously they opted into her, not to WooCommerce necessarily. They're her customers, not their customers. Yeah. So that's very frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we did. We were able to, I kind of worked it. So I just copied all the names and emails and put them in a spreadsheet and then parsed everything out, and it was all good.
Well, that's good. So it's nice to know that there are people like you that we can all put on speed dial. Is that a simple?
Yeah.
Well, I have this thing and it's live and it's not, what do I do?
Yep. I call those a quick fix. That's a quick fix project. Yep.
Well, that's good to know because I do feel like online there have been a number of times where I've seen someone being like, I'm having an emergency. It's good to know who to be able to say, I can help you with that. I have this friend. And having a friend in an emergency situation always makes you their new best friend.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for that. That was really fun. I'm glad I could help.
So tell us more about what else you do for people. When people find you, are they usually in the midst of a crisis or is it starting out? Like, where do you usually get people from and get them to?
Yeah, usually people are starting out, so they kind of feel like they're in a crisis. I have to start my business this month. And it's like, okay, let's do it. So normally I'm working with people in their first 1 to 3 years of business where they might not have the client book to hire a VA. They got to do this stuff themselves. And they're curious about it anyway. They want to know how stuff works. So I work with people one-on-one. We use Zoom like we're using now. And so I'm logged into their website and they can see my screen. And we're actually setting this stuff up while we're talking on the phone so we can make some tweaks and really, we can write copy while we're doing it. We do all the things and they can see how to do it themselves. And they get a recording of the session. It's really cool. So they can watch that later. And it's a video of, like I said, it's their own process and not some, canned YouTube video of click here, click here. It's like, this is how we built your own system. So we do websites, emails, social media, and I've done all the marketing courses. So I have a lot of marketing training. So I might talk to you about a funnel. And then next session, we're going to set up a funnel for you. And, just kind of walking through that whole system, because a lot of times we take a marketing class and they say, now you write these emails and you have a funnel. And you're like, but how do I actually have a funnel?
Right.
How do I make that work?
Emails. Yeah. What's
the
process that I walk them through? Yeah, I've had a lot of people say like, well, just slap up a lead page, collect the leads, make your funnel and sell them the thing. And you're like, and when it doesn't work, which step? This is something I have trouble with a lot, parsing out when you do something and you don't get the result you want, you don't get a great conversion or whatever it is. Like, is it the initial ask that gets them to the lead page? Is it like the front end thing? Like trying to figure out which part, where do you lose them? Where are we having people drop off? Is it the copy? Is it the image? Did the link not work, and nobody told you? Where's the problem? Do you help people look at that stuff too?
I do, definitely. And I have a great case study of somebody I was working with, and she had this really awesome Facebook ad. And I like to do Facebook ads where we're really writing from the heart. We're writing something and sharing something as if we're on the regular news feed. So anyway, we've got this great copy, really cute picture. They get to the landing page and they don't sign up. And so the ad was converting, and she was like, Tara, the ad's not working. I'm like, no, the ad's working. It's the landing page. We got to tweak that landing page. That's the piece that wasn't working. So we kind of tweaked that a little bit. I think at that point it was like day 5. It was like the last day. So we didn't get the results from that. But you can see by the numbers, like, 100 people clicked on the ad. That's a great ad for 100 as an example. But only 5 people signed up. Then we know the problem is on the lead page. If only 5 people are clicking on the ad and you've got a big budget, the problem is with the ad. So we do kind of talk about both sides and which one is working and which one isn't.
So Facebook ads is a place where I have done the let's watch a video, pause, do the thing, pause, do the thing. And I had one where I was trying to, I have never actually successfully done an ad where I used pixels and retargeting because I tried it, and then not only did I not convert, at the end of the period with the ad, this is the first one. I was watching a Kim Luna, video, which Kimmer does a lot of stuff with Facebook ads and they work for her. So I'm not sure where it fell apart. But a few of these things, I've noticed this even with YouTube videos for things like MailChimp, which we still use MailChimp for my husband's record label. By the time the video gets to me, they've updated something. And that, I'm like, that button, I see you clicking that button. I'm looking at the page. That button is not there anymore. And I am stuck. And now do I need to find a newer YouTube? So you can end up going down this YouTube tutorial rabbit hole of just being what you did, I did, it did not work, or I couldn't do it because it doesn't look the same anymore. That kind of thing.
Yep, exactly. And that's where we talk about that. How much is your time worth? And we go, it's not worth it for me to spend 6 hours on YouTube. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I could just pay somebody to do it or teach me how to do it or do it. You know what I mean? That's where that exchange of time and money is really important to weigh and to be aware of. It's not worth it for you to do that. Just hire somebody.
Well, I also haven't wanted to, I see these people who are Facebook ad specialists who charge really a lot of money, and it really only makes sense to hire them if you're doing a massive campaign of some kind that you're expecting. If you have a budget of $20,000 for your Facebook ads, you can afford to hire someone, really make them right, because you're going for a 6-figure return revenue, top end return on your launch. But for most of us who are playing with Facebook ads to try to get leads, and I really have not tried selling directly from an ad yet. I've mainly used it as to bring in new leads. And even that, I've been so tentative and I've tried boosting things. That doesn't seem to do very well. I've tried, little, but I'm so hesitant because I don't feel like I know. So for someone like me who would like to do more with the ads and see, can I really reach the right people who really are interested in this thing, and it's not me shoving it down someone's throat who doesn't want it. What kind of packages do you do to help them with stuff like that?
Yeah, I definitely walk people through Facebook ads, and that's a tricky one. And I'm kind of weighing my conscience there because I don't require a big budget, so you might not get the results that you're seeing other people getting. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I can show you how to. Yeah. But
how to do the pixel. Where is it that I should be? Where am I tracking them to, and where should I be retargeting them to? I struggle with stuff like that. What's the next step after this one ad? Now I have some data. Now what do I do?
Yeah, exactly. So the retargeting is great. If you're getting enough traffic on your Facebook page to run a retargeting ad, it just reminds people, hey, you know that I exist. Come sign up for this other thing. Or you know what I mean? That's the purpose of the retargeting. It's a warm traffic. Make sure you see this latest podcast or my latest blog post or whatever. But a lot of times with other Facebook ads, I gotta take a sip.
That's okay. I drink all through my broadcast all the time. Hydration is really important. If you're listening, this is your cue to go to have a drink.
Let's do it.
Okay.
The thing that a lot of people really struggle with around Facebook ads is the targeting. And we feel like we should target a million people. because we want everyone to see our message. But really, you're going to be so much more effective if you have a much, much smaller target. So I like to target between 80,000 and 200,000 people and really niche that down. And then the other thing I like to do is test. So you do have to have a little bit of a budget for doing testing. But once you do that testing, you know who's a good audience for you. So for testing, for example, you might set up like 5 audiences, and you might spend $5 or $10 a day for each audience. And you show all of those audiences the same ad. And then you go, okay, nobody clicked from this audience, but 25 people clicked from this other audience. I'm going to advertise to them a lot more than the other one. So you kind of learn who is your ideal audience in the Facebook ads realm. But really the key is getting that number just super, super niche down to 80,000 to even 200,000 people. It's going to be a better audience for you because you know they're targeted and they're interested in what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And you're able to tell which of those audiences is going to perform better for me when I do launch that big thing. And I'm glad that you're not launching or trying to advertise paid stuff. That doesn't really work very well for a cold audience, but it could work for your retargeting. So the retargeting would be a warm audience, and you can tell them about your paid program. But for boosting posts and for, you know, some of these other kind of ads, you definitely want to be advertising free opt-in gifts or free, even just a free podcast. Like, this was really valuable. I want you to hear it. I'm going to pay for that. And that is going to actually be shown to more people. Facebook doesn't love the opt-in process. Facebook wants you to advertise free stuff, not free opt-in stuff. So they'll show your ad to more people if it's just a freebie with no obligation on the other person's end.
So not even an email address. They don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
So
they don't like that.
Favorite if you don't send them to a lead page. Is that they click and they get the thing right there? Is that what you mean?
Yep. Yeah. So what I would do there, isn't that interesting? And that, like, you kind of have to keep up with all these Facebook ad trends. I listen to a podcast just about Facebook ads because I've got to keep up with all these trends.
Which one?
But what's that?
Which podcast? We'll put it in the notes.
I listen to Amy Porterfield's podcast, and she partners with a buddy sometimes, and they talk about Facebook ads. And those sessions are my favorite. I'm like furiously writing down notes. I'm like, they're really great. But that's what they're kind of discovering, is that Facebook wants free content, and they'll show your ad to more people. So if you have a high value thing, you might have a podcast or a blog post, then have a related opt-in that's below that free content that says, hey, get the checklist that goes along with this podcast, enter your name and email here to get the checklist. So you can still grow your list, but giving that free stuff first is going to be better for Facebook ads.
Not to get too detailed here in case people are not interested in Facebook ads, but as far as giving free content for free, I've also heard that putting on Facebook things that take them to third parties are less favorable than things where they can just consume it right there in Facebook, right? So podcasts, like for my podcast here, it's RSSed onto iTunes, it's on Podbean, I have the YouTube channel, but all of those are third parties that will, if you click to get the content, it takes you away from Facebook. So what's the solution to that one? Any?
I would send them to your website because that's where they can go to find the podcast.
Okay. That makes the most. I like sending people to my website because then I can actually, like with Google Analytics, see where they came from. Not that I fully understand. This is another problem for me is Google Analytics. I look at it and I'm like, oh, look how many people came to me from this country or that country. That's interesting. And then I don't really know what to do with any of that data.
Yes. Yeah, analytics is a whole different beast. Being boss
podcast.
Yeah, I know, it really would. Yeah. Another one of my favorites is Being Boss. And they did a good episode about analytics too. And they're great because they have a really numbers lover and then somebody who doesn't care about numbers. So it's a really good balance of like, look at your numbers, but don't rely on the numbers. Don't run your business by the numbers. Like, run your business as you and from your heart and do the things that you do, but just know what your numbers are kind of approach. Mm-hmm.
So I guess in terms of the retargeting stuff, figuring out where people are coming to you from can help you focus on which platforms are performing for you, right?
Yeah, the retargeting is, yeah, that's exactly right. Yep, you could use the Facebook ad retargeting for that. So you might have a pixel on one of these places where people see your podcast, and then you can remind them or retarget them and say, hey, don't miss these other podcasts that are related to the one that you enjoyed, kind of copy and ad strategy. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. This is me doing my thing where I basically get free coaching on my podcast because I'm like, oh, I'm interested in learning about this. But I think I do want to know more, but maybe we'll take it off of the podcast.
Sure.
I'll come do a session with you where you help me figure out some ads because I'm sure I'm underutilizing the potential of Facebook ads at the moment. So we've got the website, like figuring out how to do their blog and put content on the website. We've got the, do you specialize in like WordPress or any certain type of website?
I don't. I know how to use all of them. So WordPress and Squarespace are the ones that I would recommend, but I can use any of them. I have this weird thing where I can get into a new system and figure it out right away and then teach it to other people. It's kind of a
talent.
Kind of cool.
And for email providers, in terms of helping people set up their mailing list and their newsletter, which do you specialize in, if any?
Yeah, since I'm working mostly with people in their first couple of years, I definitely have mastered MailChimp. So I can teach people about MailChimp, ConvertKit. I really love ConvertKit. And I like Mad Mimi. Not a lot of people use it, but I really like Mad Mimi. I used them for a long time, and I was still, teaching people and telling people about MailChimp. And I'm like, Mad Mimi's really cool.
Mad Mimi?
Mad Mimi. Mm-hmm.
I do not know about that one. Okay.
Yep. It's good. It's for people in the beginning couple of years, and it handles lists the same way that some of the bigger providers do. So you can tag people based on how they came into your list.
Okay.
Pretty neat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know when I moved from MailChimp to ActiveCampaign, I'd been talking to lots of people who had things like Infusionsoft and Ontraport, but I was like, my mailing list does not make me enough money to support that much outflow, for one thing, and they seemed so robust and overwhelming. I felt like I'd have to hire someone not only to migrate me and set it all up, but also to manage it, because it sounded beyond my capabilities, those biggies.
Yep, exactly. I feel like ConvertKit is very similar to Ontraport and Infusionsoft, but it's just a lot less expensive. But it does a lot of the same things that those guys do. And it's worth it.
ConvertKit and ActiveCampaign, and we ended up doing ActiveCampaign. Do you do ActiveCampaign too?
I don't think I have had a client who uses ActiveCampaign, so I haven't seen behind the scenes of ActiveCampaign. So I kind of learn these things as I get clients who use that program. So I haven't seen that one.
That makes sense. Well, maybe if I come and we work on my Facebook stuff, you can take a look at my ActiveCampaign too.
Yeah. Exactly.
Actually, right now I do have a VA who's very good at it, Holly. So I just send her my stuff and she makes it happen. But it would be good at some point for me to learn how to do it enough that if she is sick, or can't make it, or I can manage it myself.
Yeah.
So let's see. How else do you help new business owners that we haven't covered yet?
You know what? My favorite thing to do, I actually just wrapped this up today right before our call. My very favorite thing is actually a group session, and I call it Ask Me Anything. It's kind of like tech support where all of my clients can log into this hour, and it's a group call, and they can ask me anything. So I might be talking about, how do I change this image on my website? And then the next question is, how do I set up an online calendar or a scheduling system? So I'm going to answer that question. And then, what do you do about social media? Answer that question. So like, it's just to kind of jump around. Everybody has a question. It's really random. And it's so fun because I'm like solving all these puzzles and working through all of this stuff. But that, I think, is really helpful for people who have a marketing course or a business focused course where they don't want to teach the technology. So I teach the technology for them, you know, and people can ask me anything. So maybe you're teaching this course, this marketing course, and in week 1, you talk about funnels, and in week 3, you talk about webinars. People are going to have questions about funnels and webinars, and I can answer all of those questions. So it's a great kind of add-on for an existing course, is to offer this kind of ask me anything service where they can ask questions about that current module or any previous ones or anything random in between.
That sounds like a great idea, because I remember the first time I took B-School. Have you done B-School?
Yep.
The first time I took B-School, I didn't have a website. So when we got to the website and the mailing list and the, you know, your editorial calendar and doing this every week and being consistent and all this stuff, it just, obviously I hit a brick wall and was just like, what do I do now? You know, like, it was really overwhelming. And I did have a friend who ended up building a free website, which is now our label website, thejennins2.com, where my husband's label stuff is. But because we had a friend do it for free, it's really hard to get things changed on it because it was a favor. So it's not like he did it. It was fantastic. I'm so happy that he did it for us. But there are these moments where I'm just like, I really want to change something and I don't really know how, and I don't really want to bug him. Yeah. So, and even with doing Natalie Lucier's, because Natalie Lucier did some of the tech stuff on there, but by the time I did it, she wasn't really at the level where you could just be like, hey, Natalie, can I just like ask you 10 questions real quick? No, you have to hire.
I know.
And you're just like, God, I just paid $2,000 or whatever it is now for B-School. I'm not ready because I don't have a working business yet, because I don't even have a website. I'm not quite ready to hire that level priced person to answer my every little tech question. So I could see someone doing a course, maybe not as big as B-School, but a course that involves people going from zero to business. That would be so helpful, just to have someone to be like, each time they run into that smack your head against the wall tech issue, they can get on a weekly, like, ask me anything and get it solved.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my whole goal with that, because like I can see in your face that it was so disheartening for you and discouraging to be like, well, now what do I do? And to not have that answer is really frustrating for people. And that's what I want to do, is provide that answer and that support so that people don't get stuck or give up on their business. That's why I got into this, is because I saw my fellow coaches. I started as a health coach, and I saw my fellow coaches going, I can't do it. I give up. And I'm like, no, health coaches are still important. I'll teach you. You can do it, you know? Yeah, that's what I want to provide for people. And I know that if you're teaching business and marketing, you might not care about teaching tech stuff, or you have a VA who does it for you. And you know, you're not going to be teaching that stuff. And I want to teach it. I love teaching technology. It's so fun for me.
Well, that's great to know. I think that's a really good angle to take too. Because like in my head, as we're talking right now, I'm going through all the people I know who have these kind of 0 to something businesses to try to get people started in their business. Like I took 0 to launch as well. Do you remember? I don't know if you knew Ramit Sethi's.
I don't know that one.
He tried to that bit by basically okay, so part of the package that you could buy is a WordPress website, which ended up actually really complicating my website thing, because I bought his little package deal that came with a pop-up, and it came with, you know, it came with what he thought you needed based on his way of doing marketing. And as easy as he made it, I couldn't do it still. I still needed help.
Yeah.
And enough help provided in the course. I ended up, this is for my Jen Turrell website that I have now. I ended up hiring someone, and they ended up being like, what the hell is all this stuff in here? I think they mostly ripped it all off and got it down to just a WordPress. I think we even changed the theme that I had, you know, because he included in the package, the WordPress package, a couple themes to choose from. And he showed examples of like, if you're, a yoga person and you want big yoga photos, use this. If you're this. And I just had someone named Yusuf Chowdhury, I think. He did a Facebook Live the other day. I met him at Yasmin's event, who's the woman that you were helping out. Yasmin and Now was the one who had the event, and Terra swooped in and fixed things for her. And he was like doing SEO stuff, and he's on a Facebook Live, and I was talking to him, asking him questions, and he's like, Jen, put your website, type it in, and I did it. And he starts doing a website teardown for me on the spot. And it was basically like, not only is your SEO not good, it doesn't exist. Like, you have no metadata. There's no tagging. Your photos take way too long. And he started giving me all these things to like squunch my photos. And he's like, they take too long to load, blah, 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 blah. And finally he got to my link where the shows are, which should be my blog, but I put my podcast shows. And he was like, oh, you are doing something cool. I just had no idea. But the website sucks, basically. And I was like, oh. Telling me, but and this is the website that started out as a zero to launch website, and it was really not as I could see Ramit trying to overcome that barrier for people by giving them a website with a theme and simplifying it and being like, you can only choose from these 3 things. You don't choose from the whole world of website themes for WordPress. But it's still, for a lot of us, it still wasn't enough. We still had to have on top of that. And his whole point was, it was supposed to be a business in a box, basically. Like,
right.
And that's a hard thing.
Yeah.
A business in a box. My business didn't come out of that box working. As awesome as this program, it is a very good program, but I still struggled with the tech issues.
Yep, exactly. And that's why I like to use the system that you use, and I'll learn how to do it, and I'll teach it to you, and we'll make it good. And I know how to do a lot of the systems, but I'm not going to make you change your system or use something that I know how to use, because we want something that works for you, not something that works for me. So
it's possible your customers have bought something that someone else told us to buy, and now we don't know how to use it. I mean, that's the situation I've ended up in several times. It's just been like, oh, someone so-and-so, Natalie Lucier said I should use this pop-up thing. And so I bought this pop-up thing, and wait, how do I make it my thing in the pop-up now? Like,
I know. Yeah. And there are, there's a lot of times where like somebody will suggest something and it's really expensive and it's an affiliate thing. So that's why they suggested it. And I'm like, we're not using that. That's too expensive. You don't need all that. We're going to scale this back. We're going to use this email provider and we're going to get this rolling for you, because all those bells and whistles complicate everything. And we don't all need that when we're first starting out. We don't need the $300 a month email provider, Yeah. And I get why that happens. Yeah. Let's start for free. You can. And there's nothing wrong with starting for free. Your customers don't know, and they don't care what email provider you use. Mm-hmm. So I like to make it something that is easy for you, easy for them, inexpensive. Yep.
Okay. We're going to have tons and tons of links for this episode now, because not only have we done multiple podcasts, we've mentioned so many different services and providers and people. So, and I do want to mention, like, the people whose courses stuck me, technically, lots of people got through those fine. That they are really good courses, both B-School and Zero to Launch. I just did not manage to do the tech part. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. So that was part of why I was mentioning it, was if you are someone who's running a course that takes people from absolute beginner into having a website that works and has buy buttons and payments happen and opt-ins happen, and you don't want to teach that kind of thing, I think Terra, on my screen, I'm pointing to you this way. The other day I pointed the wrong way. So I think having someone like Terra sounds like a fantastic plan, because I wish some of those courses had had someone that I could just ask any question to. So that was the whole point.
Yeah, thank you.
That those are bad by any means. They're great programs, but
yeah, exactly. All of them really great programs, and they feel like they're teaching you how to do all the things, but they don't teach you how to do all the things on the email and on the website and stuff. So
And some of those people have been in business so long and have teams that take care of so much stuff that it might be hard for them to remember what stops you when you're absolute beginner. Like sometimes I get stopped in a process by picking a new password. I'm just like, I new password. Do I, like every place I log into, I feel like every website you have to log in now and you have to pick password. And some I just like click away because I'm sick of having to input a password and having my password thing remember it and like, or not, or if I'm on my phone and the password thing's on my computer and this is, there's so many things I'm just like, I don't get it. Like that turns me away as a customer from a lot of things. I'm just like,
Yep, I know. That's really good feedback for everyone who's listening. Like, if you hate the way something works, don't make your customers go through that same system.
Yeah, actually,
except for pop-ups. Pop-ups work.
With our record label website, again, actually, maybe you could help me with this a little too, because when people order things, in order to get their downloads, they have to create an account and download it there. And you can't do it from a cell phone. And I was like, where do people want to listen to their music? On a cell phone. We need a download. We don't want it, like, sure, on your computer, you can make it go into your iTunes and then you can get it on your phone. But people want to download it now on their phone. Like, that's why people love Apple Music and love all these streaming places. They're driving in their car, they want to listen to their music, they don't want to wait. And I find that our customers complain about it, and I haven't known how to fix that. So maybe you can help me fix that one.
Yeah, we can definitely look at that system because somebody built that system and they've got to update that so that it works on the phone. So I'm sure there's a way to make that happen because that's crazy.
I logged in to test things before. I don't remember my password to our own site. Like I know my admin password, but I created a customer password to test things. And now I'm like, and I didn't put that, I couldn't get into LastPass. I forgot my master password at some point. So like LastPass is on the computer and it's useless. And I've switched over to TrueKey now because it can recognize my face and my thumbprint. I'm like, I don't have to remember, at least to get in. I can thumbprint it and face print it now. And I think that's brilliant because some of us are so sick of passwords. Yeah, that's my big thing I'm sick of right now. So anyways, maybe you can help people with those things too. Their customers being like, don't make me log into one more thing.
I know. That is so true. Yep, those passwords are a bugger. I do like LastPass. I'm glad you were using that, or the thing that you're using now. I didn't catch the name of it, but yeah, those things do make it a lot easier to remember that stuff.
Yeah. Before that, I really loved Password Box. Do you remember Password Box?
I don't think I used that.
I used it because it was really easy to give other people one-time access to logins, and then that access disappeared and they never had it again. I liked that because, especially for things like connecting PayPal to stuff, I'm like, I have to keep changing my PayPal password because I had to let this person in there so that they could hook it up to my membership site or to Thinkific or, whatever thing I'm trying to use, or my Stripe account to like integrate it with that thing. And I don't want them to have that password forever, but yeah. So,
yeah, I know passwords are crazy. I actually had to like hire a lawyer and get a contract because when I tell people I can help them with their technology, they send me all their passwords. And I'm like, oh my gosh, don't send me all your passwords. That is so unsafe. You don't know me. Let's get a contract so you know your password is safe. Because,
that's what we do.
It happens.
Like, actually, my new VA that I have, Holly, she's not that new. We've been together for a while, but I met her when I was my old VA was so successful, and I personally recommended her to so many people that there was a point where she had to downsize her clientele, and she wanted to stick with her highest volume, like most successful clients, and I was not one of them. That was one of those like, you're breaking up with me for the head cheerleader? One of those moments. I told Holly, like, when I waited for a while before hiring, because I was like, I think I just need some time between these intense relationships where I share so much of my personal information and trust someone so much with how everything works in my business that I needed a little time in between just to be like, okay, and I actually really shed some systems because I was just like, I need to figure out exactly what I really need and want to pay someone for, because sometimes as you add things and you just start paying for things, and you need to figure out if they actually have ROI. Do you help people look at that too? Like how many of these, pop-up ally and like webinar this and, we can end up collecting all these apps and things that have ongoing payments that maybe weren't the best idea, but someone recommended them and it was an affiliate. And then you're like, oh, this must be what I need. Do you help people?
Yep, exactly. I do. Yeah, because I do find that people have all the things, like they have Woofu, and I'm like, you could use Google Forms for free. You don't have to pay for this service. You can use this thing for free. And yeah, I definitely help people kind of streamline their systems, because it does get overwhelming, and we get that, that FOMO of like, well, she said this is the greatest, so I bought it, and now I have 3 different webinar platforms. And like, okay, let's get one of them. Just one.
Yeah. I love Zoom. I
do too. Yep.
And I've never done a PowerPoint presentation in my life.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've never done anything I've called a webinar, but I love getting on things, we can make these public and have people come into them. And I just use Zoom instead.
Yeah, me too. And there are, like with Zoom, there are a couple of extra steps, like you have to download the video and then you upload it to YouTube and stuff like that. And there are different webinar platforms where you don't have to do all of that. So yeah, when I'm working with somebody, I'm kind of gauging how many of these steps is realistic for this person. How can we make this the easiest possible for them so that they can do it? Because if you have to download and upload and do all these 15 different things and send reminder emails, and you're not going to do that, we got to pick a different system that you are going to be able to use.
Actually, that's a really good point. When you just said that, I was like, well, because we do have to do show notes too and collect links and all of that. This does get watched as it gets uploaded, but you're right. That is an extra step in my business, and that does cost me money right now. Is that it gets uploaded. Maybe we should talk about that too. Okay. All right. I'm making an appointment with you after this so that we can look at my Facebook ads, my process for getting my podcast. Because actually, I do try to have it as hands-off as possible. Once I record, I like to put it in a Dropbox, and then everything gets shot out to where it needs.
Well, I do think Zoom is working for what you're doing for the podcast. I think Zoom is the best thing. But for webinars, I think Zoom probably isn't the best, because you have to send the reminder emails and just do all these extra steps. But for a podcast, I do think this is great because you get the audio and you get the video, and I like it.
Yeah. It makes it really, it's much easier than what I was doing before I tried it with Skype. And then when I used to do solo episodes, I would record them straight into GarageBand, put my intro and outro on it. Back when I was doing it all hands on myself. Now I don't. Now I just like put it in a Dropbox, and all those things happen, and it's kind of exciting.
Yay!
But I do pay for this stuff, and I pay for the time that all of it takes too. But that's one thing for me to upload here on my slow internet in rural Arizona. That was taking too much of my time, and there are a lot of times where I would get interrupted. Uploading, so I decided it was worth it for me to have somebody in a really fast internet area upload it, and just in a few minutes instead of it taking like however long it was taking me. So, but anyways, we're totally coming to our time for the episode. I think this is really good because actually I feel like I've probably talked too much in this episode because I've wanted to express my own frustration with tech stuff.
That's good. It's good.
I know lots of people feel this way, and I'm so glad that there's someone who can just fix that for them and me.
Yep. And I have that coaching background, so I know when to listen and when to talk, and kind of there's a lot more to it behind the scenes. There's a lot of mentality stuff that goes on with the technology. It feels a lot bigger than it is sometimes. So we do a lot of deep breaths, around technology because it is really stressful. So
yeah, few things make us feel so powerless as when we can't just make that right there, go there, and it won't do it on your computer, and you're just like, yeah. My husband's that way too. And the problem with us though is he's PC and I'm Mac, and he won't change, which is fine. That we both work on our label, So he'll want me to do something for him, and he'll be like, just do it on my computer. And I'm like, I cannot use your computer. I really can't. Like, I don't even know this, like, your search function frustrates me. You have to put it on either on a zip, little zip disk, or you have to email me what you want, and then I will do it on my computer, but I will not use his computer. And the whole like WAV file versus the sound files are different on PC and Mac, which is really frustrating too. So usually he has his masters, and I'm like, do you want me to upload it to Orchard, which is our digital distributor, which puts it on iTunes for us? And he doesn't want to convert the file. It's like I can't help him a lot of the time when so I'm like, unless we figure out some system where we can integrate better, a lot of things have to wait until he has time to do them, which is, I work at home, so it's easier for me. But anyways, I have a lot to say on this. So I'm going to book a session with you so that I can get some of my tech frustrations out of the way. And thank you for giving me some coaching here on the live show.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is really fun. I love it. I could do this all day.
Well, good. It sounds like you're good at it. If it's what you love doing all day, you should definitely do it a lot.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap up, and I am probably going to reach out to you for some of these links, because a lot of these things.
The links.
Yeah, like the Mad Mimi. I'm like, how do you spell that? But we'll get it sorted out. You guys can check out all the links, and we'll share the links to how to work with Terra as well if you have any of these kind of frustrations. One last question. Can I ask a vague price point? Because I feel like a lot of people hesitate reaching out for one-on-one help with things because of price point.
Yep.
So where do you fall in the price point for your help packages?
Yeah. Right now, my one-on-one session is less than $250. So that's good. We get stuff done, you learn how to do it, and you get the recording. Most people buy a 3-pack with me, which is $550. Mm-hmm. So that's a much better deal than the one session. So.
And are those, is that a general, like you can work on whatever part of their business they want during those? Is it like 3-hour-long calls?
Mm-hmm. Yep. 3 separate hour-long calls. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and we do all of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there who it would be worth it to never have to go through what they've gone through in the past again, and have a recording that they can go look to and fix it. Actually, when I did my first podcast, I didn't know how to set it up on Podbean or Libsyn, and I had someone do a screencast of how to upload. They uploaded my first one for me, and then for a while, every week, I'd bring that video up and I'd watch it and I'd do my thing and I'd tag it, and because part of it is the tagging, categorizing, metadata, how to make it findable for people. That's not something I ever got any training in. And at first I wasn't doing it. And like with my blog and my website, like, oh yeah, that's important to put categories and tags. Like, that helps people find things. Right. Oh, why didn't anyone tell me it was that important, So.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you so much for talking to us about this, because
yeah, you're welcome.
It's going to be a very popular episode, actually, because I'm sure lots of people tear their hair out like I do. And
good.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jen. This was so fun. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.